Currently, right now, it is being heard in front of the Supreme Court. Uh, a trans athlete is getting their case heard currently before the Supreme Court. And the argument is that there is a law that was passed in 2021 where it states that trans athletes, or athletes, period, doesn't say anything about trans, but athletes, period, should and will participate in the competition or the athletic competition. They will compete with athletes that are of the exact gender that you were assigned at birth biologically. And the argument that's being heard in front of the Supreme Court right now is that this law is discriminatory against this individual. Now, how is this discriminatory, you might add? Here's my thing. I say, when I first heard about this, I was like, you know what? I believe that they are correct. This could, in fact, be discriminatory. Why? Because if your definition of being discriminated against is that people who look like you, people who act like you, people who feel the way that you do are the subject of this one law, then and it's just against the ones that look and feel and think the way that I do, then that is discriminatory against those people. And before I actually jumped into this story, because it was very interesting, I said, you know what? They actually have a point. Yes. You, if that is your definition of discrimination, you are 1000% being discriminated against for good reason, but just on the simple basis of you thinking, or you're bringing this beforehand and saying that this is what's happening. Yes, this is in fact discriminatory. But then as I got to diving into this information, and as I got into diving into this story, I found out that their basis of discrimination is that this person, BPJ, known as Becky, never hit male puberty. So this doesn't apply to them, or shouldn't apply to them, or isn't fair that it applies to them, because it does not give them any unfair advantage because they never hit male puberty. Now, I don't know what male puberty is about. All I remember is the squeaky voice and the acne. That's about it. Hormones crazy, of course, but that's about the extent of puberty, right? Did I run faster? Faster than, yeah, okay, I got faster because I got older, but I was always not that fast. Did I get more athletic? Not really. I was always athletic, actually. So there wasn't this drastic change to where I was jumping out of the gym and I couldn't do it before. I was always short, and I was able to touch rim, or close. I got close to dunking one time. I just scared myself and never jumped again. Message to anybody or to everybody: take the leap, jump when appropriate. Okay, don't be afraid. But I don't remember a significant change. I know that anytime that I raced against a girl, wrestled a girl, played basketball against a girl, whatever it was that was physical, ran across the monkey bars, whatever the case is, I won. I wasn't the fastest boy, the most athletic boy at the time, none of that, but I beat girls because naturally we have an unfair advantage. Prior to any sort of puberty hitting, we have the unfair the advantage. Just we're built different. I mean, it's just that we are built different. This is the reason why, outside of the lion kingdom or outside of the animal kingdom, this is why in most cases the men are the hunters. We are built to hunt. We are built to provide. We are built to protect. Because that's just naturally, we're bigger, we're faster, we're strong. Just naturally, from birth. Is there a woman out there that can beat a man in a sport? Of course. But just naturally, we're built this way. But this is what's being argued before the Supreme Court, and they're like I said, they're stating that, and I just don't understand how you can feel that way. Now, this person is now in high school. These events happened while they were in middle school, and they were banned from participating in girl sports because, according to their biology, they were at one point they were a boy, and they should be competing in boy sports. And I love bringing this up. If it didn't matter, if all parts are created equal, we would see more women doing combat sports with men, and that just isn't going to happen. Just because brutally, it just wouldn't be a pretty sight. Again, is there a woman out there that can beat a man? Of course. But if we took the top man, the man at his peak, the champion, and we had the woman at her peak, the champion, the man would come out on top. I have no doubt about that. No gender roles, no none of that. I'm just saying that is the case. But the fact that this has almost been swept up under the rug and is showing so much of what is going on right now. I was having a conversation with my wife, and she was like, I just don't understand what they want. And I told her they want to be treated normal. They don't want the rules to change, even though they've changed. They don't, that is what they do not want. It is not fair that the rules change for them, that when they transitioned, they want to be handled in the same way that they were being handled beforehand. And I got to thinking, and I'm like, but you aren't awarded certain luxuries depending on your gender. As a man, you're not awarded going first, getting the door open for you, people being polite just to be polite, getting up, giving you their seat. You're not awarded that. But as a woman, you are. And so I wonder, when they make that transition, girl becomes a man. When they make that transition, are they expected? I mean, do you still expect that? Oh, you're a man now. Do you still expect the door to be held open for you? It just doesn't happen because physically you look like a man. We're not helping you. That's just how that works. So if that same thing isn't the same, why do you want certain things that if you just love track that much and you wanted to run that much, you could have did it as a male, competing against a male. I know the solution to this. My wife gave me a perfect solution to this. They should have a league. There should be a law put into place, something, because this is going to continue to happen until something like that. And I think this is a way that we can all get what we want. I think this is a way that we can all find out about, we can all be satisfied. And that way is they should have some sort of a league. There should be some sort of, if this is an epidemic, if this is something that is really going on, if this is something that people really care about, there should be there should be a team. All right, every school has, like, you have a girls basketball team, you have a boys basketball team, make a transgender basketball team. Do we have to have 4 teams? Trans man, trans woman? No, we don't have to. I say we could do just one, just a transgender. If you want to do 4, fine. But I know what the issue is. I know what that's going to be. Right now, there is not enough to create that, right? Not unless you change the rules. But see, here we go. We're doing something that you said you really don't want done for you, right? Now we're changing the rules. But we could, right? Okay, maybe only 3 to a team, 3 on 3. Like, you know, I'm not saying that's something we have to do. If you can go find 5, if you can go find 10 and 12 that go to the same school and we can create, let's do that. Right now, you're just trying to worry about inclusion. But here's the funny thing, y'all. Here's the funny thing. When Black people and white people were not able to play on the same team, you know what Black people did? We created our own league. We said, you know what? You right. You right. Forget it. You don't want to let us play with you. You don't want to let us go and be created as equals. Fine. We are going to create our own league. We're going to be on our own team. And we are going to make the noise so loud that there is no denying us into your league. This is what I believe trans people should do. Now, that comes with a lot. Legislation, a lot of people to jump on board. There's a lot of people that are not as progressive. You're still dealing with the right and the left. Look, I get it. But that's the only way that this is going to work. We're talking about being treated fair and equally, right? We are speaking on being treated in a way that doesn't make you feel or look or seem different. But you are, unfortunately. And that comes with its own type of disadvantages and hurdles. But much like us, since people want to say that what they are going through is the same as what Black people went through with the civil rights movement, I've heard these things. If that is what people are saying, and that's what people are saying the reason why, and that's why this fight is so hard, and this is what they want to do, fine. Then you have to go through the same struggles we did. If this is what you really want, America, the land of the free, home of the brave, home of the brave. If you want to be treated equally, unfortunately, you got to go through all of this. And this is what they have in front of the Supreme Court right now. Now, my last reading of this said that the Supreme Court seems to be leaning in the way of dismissing this. Like, yeah, no, you don't really have a case. And if that is the fact, I mean, yeah, it makes perfect sense. If that's it, it makes perfect sense. If that's the case, you got to keep going through this. You got to keep getting denied. The difference is, let's say, hell, Black people created a whole sport. Hockey was started by us. Why can't trans? Exactly, right? This is my thing. A lane. We talk about creating a lane. Rock and roll. That was us. Hip hop. That was us. We did because no one wanted to accept us when we came in. I'm sure Chuck Berry tried to go and play, somewhere nice, but he had his little riff and had his little thing that he was doing. And they was like, hey, we don't do that here, sir. None of that. None of that demons music. You need to find somewhere else. He had to create it. And then when the people found out how good it was, how nice it was, they jacked it. And that's one of the biggest genres ever created. Okay? So when we talking about that, it happens. So all I'm saying is if you really want I think the difference is they want the fast track. They want, because mind you, if we really think about this, the rights that they are getting are very like, these are recent rights that they're getting. I believe 2013, 2014 was the time that it became like truly legal to marry. I believe so. So these laws and these rights that they are getting are they're very new. They're very recent, okay? So if we are in fact going to get the same rights, if you're going to fight this, you got to go through the same stuff. And unfortunately, this is what it. Nobody should just be like, you know what? We're a whole different country now than what we were 20 years ago, and let's just rip this up and let's just change. No, it ain't gonna work that way. What I believe should happen is if you had your own leagues, if you had your own teams, if you had your own lane, then at that point, people would start probably treating you as normal. And I know y'all going to say, well, why do we have to do that? Why must we do that? It's not fair. Why did we? Why did we have to? It's not fair. You're right. In the grand scheme of things, it is not fair. But it is what it is. I don't know what to tell you. It is what it is. And this is the view or the current landscape of affairs in America. This is a larger view of how trans people feel and how they want to be accepted. And they want the rules bent to them. Now, this is one that's specifically going at one law in Virginia, stating that them not being able to run track is discriminatory towards them because where else are they going to run at? Well, you, according to this law, can run track in with the dudes, with the boys. But why is this? For my thing, if you are truly, in general, if you are truly happy with what you got going on, if you are truly happy with your decision, why is it such a issue or such a pain point that you must compete in the same sport as what you look like? We didn't want to compete in the same sport as what we look like. We wanted to compete in the sport against people that didn't look like us. We wanted to prove that we were the best. I am sure Sha'Carri Richardson will smoke any D1 athlete out there right now. But how is she doing against Noah Lyles? in just a track meet. They the same age, same build. Just look at the fastest women's times versus the let me see. Maybe they're close. Maybe they are close. Maybe. Let me look. Hold on. Let's see. Fastest recorded men's 100 meter versus women's. Here we go. Look, y'all. Look, this is why. This is why. Look at this. This is why. Where are we at? Let me get off this. The fastest recorded men's time in the 100 meter is by none other than Usain the God Bolt at 9.58 seconds. While the fastest women's 100 meter is 10.49 seconds, almost a full second. And in track and field, this matters. Almost a full second slower, and it was set in 1988. It was set in 1988, which means that there are no women created by God himself since 1988 faster than Florence Griffith Joyner or Usain Bolt, whose record has stood at this point almost 20 years. This is why you can't. This right here is why you cannot. And why this law was meant to protect women's sports. Just think about it. All the men, all the boys that want to be women and want to race against women and play against women, Joanna Man will become a reality. You can take, there are 350, maybe 450 people in the NBA? You can take number 450 and place that man in the WNBA, and I guarantee you he'll be an all-star. He may not be an MVP. He may not win a trophy, but he is at least going to be an all-star. Do they got first and second team? He's at least making first and second team. This is why. Right here. Yet your argument is you want to be treated fairly. No, wasn't there just I believe that there was a guy who went and competed in women's swimming, something around like he was the 107, he was ranked like 167th or 107th, and then wound up being ranked in the top 10 when he switched to women's swimming. Like, come on, man. It matters. It matters. Come on, y'all. I'm not like, so again, my point is they are currently in front of the Supreme Court trying to argue the fact that there is no unfair advantage, but by God's own personal design, we are built differently. And they're trying to argue that we are not. And again, this is more the grand scheme of what people like Becky feel. They want to be treated equally, not really equally. They want to be treated normally. That is what they are chasing. They are chasing normalcy. And with them chasing normalcy, it comes with them having to be on Capitol Hill, having to go in front of the Supreme Court, having to go through these failures, getting your plans and ideas rejected, going through the heartbreak, people like Becky becoming quote unquote modern day martyrs, they have to fail so that the 2-year-old right now that that Angelina Jolie is allowing to decide what they want to be and just going with it so they can run middle school track and field. That's where we're at right now. And if we're not careful, if people allowed enough, they want it. How far off is this? I don't know. What'd it take us? 400 years? 500 years? How long did it take us? How long? That should at least be doubled. We should at least double that, because, I mean, if we're talking about, you're not going through the exact same things that we were going through. You get to have the same education. You get to work in the same places. You actually get to use the same restrooms. Sort of. So the fact that you don't have to deal with that, you got to add a couple years to that. Might as well go ahead and double it and pass it to the next person. But what are y'all thoughts on this, man? How do y'all feel about this? Do y'all have any issue in regards to this? Does this surprise you at all? Did you even know that this case was going on? I would love to hear your thoughts in regards to this. Let me know. I would like to know where you feel. Hold on, let me see. There was one in here. Here we go. I have no investment in the trans LGBTQ communities, so it don't really mean nothing to me. However, I'm not trying to watch a trans person play a sport with people who are naturally that gender. I gotta agree. I mean, for what? Because, and here's the deal. Here's the deal that really sucks about it, right? If you win, that's gonna come with hella ridicule about the fact that you only won because you have the advantage. Like, and is that really what you want? Like, as a trans person, think about that. As a trans person, is that really what you want? Because that's what's going to happen. What? And then you're going to say, oh, well, if you treat me regular, then it shouldn't matter. But unfortunately, it's going to matter. When black people started winning stuff, they said we had an unfair advantage because we was black. That's why they like to call us monkeys and stuff. Oh yeah, it's a racial slur. But monkeys are athletic. Monkeys can move. Monkeys are hard to catch. Monkeys are even deceptive at times. Monkeys are sweet and cuddly until you piss them off. So, I mean, that's what they said about us. So why would they not? That, I believe that's just what it's going to come with. That's what it's going to come with. It's going to come with the fact that you're going to be ridiculed regardless. If you win, it's going to come with you only won because you used to be a man or you used to be a woman. Like, that's how that's going to go. Now, the crazy part, that's just the boys becoming women. But I don't ever hear women complaining. I always hear the men who want to be women or becoming women complain that they can't compete in women's sports. But I never really hear the women who become men or who want to be men complain about not being able to compete in men's sports. Why? 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 It's because of exactly what I said. There is an unfair advantage, man. Y'all let me know. You think that the Supreme Court won't take this stuff seriously? I don't either. Like I said, according to the last thing that I looked up, they are siding on pushing this to the left, like not making it what it really is, but we'll see. We will find out, in the coming days, and maybe I'll give y'all an update about that. Until next time, man, make sure y'all hit that like button, hit that red subscribe button. Again, thank y'all. Jay, shouts out to you. Anthony, shouts out to you as well. Love it for y'all to be in here with your boy, man, and we are out of here.